Hi, I'm Brett Matheson. We're Team Custom Apparel. We're a wholesale manufacturer located here in Phoenix, Arizona. We run 5 shops. Here's kind of our major hub where we do sublimation, laser cutting, batch cutting, and production sewing. We run a lot of industrial sewing machines, and we have a lot of fun here creating custom wholesale apparel. We have made a big move towards sustainability using non-toxic, water-based inks, fabrics sourced from plastic water bottles. We're also using a lot of eco-friendly materials that aren't harmful to the environment. And we're conscious of this as a movement towards a better production of garment. Our vision is to eventually mill all of our own fabrics right here in-house from plastic water bottles sourced here in Phoenix. Create a model, duplicate it, repeat that all over the country. There's a big push towards conscious consumers of understanding what they're wearing, how it's made, and some of the intention behind that. We've got quite a different few stages here of production in our 6,000 square foot facility here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to take you on a little tour starting with sublimation. So what we're doing now is we're doing a double-sided print. We're able to do this in a couple of different ways. This one is a pre-cut fabric that we printed on one side. We flipped it over, and now we're printing the other side. It's running through the press at about 380 degrees for 30 seconds. And one of the great things about the versatility here is we can create any type of art, any digital print we want, and get an exact placement. So a lot of our clothes are sustainable, but they're also reversible. So we're getting 2 clothes out of one, and we're using sustainable products made out of recycled plastic bottles. So what we have here are some placement prints. These are for a crop top that have been run through the heat press. They've gone through for 30 seconds at about 380 degrees. The ink is transferred into the fabric and is now permanent. You can't scratch it, it doesn't fade, it doesn't peel. It's part of the substrate of the polyester at this point. We now take it from this roll and transfer it over to the laser cutter. Now we're to our auto contour laser. This is a giant conveyor that takes rolls of fabric. The camera up here can see the image that's printed. It determines the difference between the white and the colored objects. It goes about creating a template to cut the fabric to the exact specifications that it's printed to. So even if it's a little bit distorted or warped or the fabric isn't straight, it'll still cut to the edge of the fabric. And this is about 8 times faster than human. So this is one of the ways we're using technology to offset the cost to make things more sustainable. So this really intelligent software has now determined the outline of the yoga pant. It goes about creating a cut line, which Lucy is here just tweaking it down, making sure everything's precise. Now it's giving us a signal of what it's going to be cutting. And basically this is a CAD path. It's on an XY axis. It's a 100-watt laser that will trace the outline of the fabric and cut it. As you can tell, this thing rips through it really quick. We can also do batch cutting up to about 3 layers when we're using a solid color. Now, if you can imagine trying to cut this by hand with some scissors or an electric knife, this would be quite time consuming. So this is one of the gifts of automation that technology has allowed us to make better products that are more precise and a lot faster, cheaper, and better. So everything gets laid up. So we get some stacks going so we can get them all nice and organized for the girls to start the production. A lot of production really hasn't changed a lot in the last 100 years. These are cutout patterns, which we used as markers on the table. Slopers, we call them, and they're just laid out by hand, they're traced, they're cut. We take them to the big table and we cut them in large stacks. And this technology has been around for a long time. It's good for solid colors and cutting a lot at once. I'll show you the table. Okay, so we can do stack cutting as well. We're cutting in bulk. We'll spread out multiple layers of fabric with the spreader here. Everything starts on a big roll, spreads across the table. We get a big stack We take the markers, trace it out, cut it. Now we've got a whole stack to go into production. So this is our big knife cutter. This is how we cut large stacks of fabric. It's a reciprocating blade, very, very sharp. Keep your fingers away. So our fabric primarily starts off as white. Now we buy thousands and thousands of yards in bulk to drive our costs down. And all these fabrics are made out of recycled plastic bottles, which is pretty neat when you think about it. Everything starts off white. We digitally print them and set the color in. So by using high-speed, large format digital printers, we're able to actually set the artwork, the ink color, even facilitate textures onto the fabric by using non-toxic water-based ink. There's no dyes or effluents running into the water table, which is a big deal to us in our sustainability efforts. So here's one of our typical products, yoga pants. This is made out of recycled plastic bottles. It takes approximately 16 bottles to make a pair of yoga pants. There's content of rubber, and the rest is made out of recycled plastic bottles. Now, this started off as the white fabric that you saw before. We set up the artwork and digitally printed it right here in the shop. We pressed it, we cut it, we sew it. What we're able to do is set up our artwork in templates. Once we've taken the paper patterns that you've seen before, we've scanned them in and brought them into Photoshop, and we create a cutout template. So this layer right here is basically just a white layer that maps out what we're going to be seeing. This art in the background, we can move the placement, change the scale, do whatever we need to do to create our art onto the fabric. Once it's done here, we'll nest it, run a big print run of it. They will be batched up and go into the printer. It'll get ripped, processed through some software that extrapolates the colors and gives that information so that a high-speed printer can lay these out. Then we'll go into the process of pressing them into the fabric, cutting them, and sewing them. This is called dye sublimation. So if you're a designer or an entrepreneur and you're looking to create quality-made products that are sustainable, eco-friendly right here in the US, you can give us a call. My number is 602-363-4674. You can go to yoganastix.com, YOGANASTIX, or teamcustomapparel.com. We'll be happy to help you out with your production. We're a wholesale manufacturer. That's what we do. We create product from scratch every day. Love to hear from you. Thank you.